friends, it's Kristen here. I want to share a delicious sweet potato recipe with you that I think you'll really enjoy, especially for the holidays, but I find that I make this year round. What I love about this recipe is not your icky sweet potatoes. It has like marshmallows and brown sugar and all that icky stuff on top. I mean, I love it, but that's more dessert than it is a side dish. So I really like to do something a little bit more savory with my sweet potatoes, and this recipe is super easy and super delicious. The reason I like making this so much is because I have the Rapid Prep Mandoline, which makes slicing sweet potatoes super easy. As you guys know, they're super hard to cut, but they're just hard. And even with a knife, they're hard to slice. Certainly hard to get like nice even slices, but when you use the Rapid Prep Mandoline, it's all going to be taken care of for you super easy and super fast, and they're going to all be sliced very evenly. So what's great about the Rapid Prep Mandoline is that you can slice everything from really soft things, so like sliced tomatoes for hamburgers, you can slice strawberries for strawberry shortcake, mushrooms, things like that, all the way to things that are very hard, like carrots and celery and beets and parsnips and sweet potatoes. And it does everything from slicing to grating to julienne to making French fries. And like, again, whether it's hard or soft. So I think you're really gonna like this tool. So it has these two dials here on the back, and between these two dials and all the settings that it has, there's actually 24 different settings. And I'll be honest, I haven't even used all 24 settings. I couldn't even tell you what everything is, but just know that you have that flexibility. So this top setting, you turn the dial from these three settings that you see here. One is for slicing, which is what we're going to do today. The others are for like a fat julienne, which I always say is my French fry maker, all the way to a thin julienne, which is more like a matchstick style cut or almost a grated type of cut. And then with the bottom dial, you can go from 1 to 8 millimeters. So if you're doing slicing and at a 1, it's going to be slices, but really thin, like almost shaved, like if you were going to do like homemade potato chips, all the way to something very thick, like if you're doing today, I might even go as thick as 8, probably not quite that thick, but you could do 8 like slicing potatoes for potatoes au gratin or something like that. And then with the julienne, same thing. You can go from, you know, a julienne cut thin all the way to thick. So lots and lots of flexibility. You just kind of have to play with it to see what is best for you. Has this really nice big hopper that catches everything as you're slicing. And then the other thing that's really unique about it is as you're using it, you're pumping this handle and moving the blade, as opposed to you moving your hands across the blade, which can be really dangerous. So for all those reasons, this is just a really fabulous tool. So I have it set for slicing. And I'm going to go ahead, as I said, I'm going to do about a 6. So not quite as thick as you can go, but pretty darn thick. And we just put our sweet potato in there. And then you just start pumping. And you can see with that 6 that I'm getting slices about that thick, which is pretty good. I mean, they're going to, you know, the thicker you go, the longer it's going to take to cook. So there's really not a right or a wrong. If you're in a hurry, slice them thinner. It's going to cook faster. If you want to let it cook a little bit longer, go ahead with a thicker slice. And you just keep pushing this in. When you get close to the blade, of course, you're going to use the food guard because you don't want to be putting your fingers in there. But you can just see how nicely and how easily this works. Oops, I even got a couple on the ground for the dogs. Too bad they're not able to go pick that up. Okay, so there we go. How easy was that? That was like a whole huge sweet potato, and I guarantee if I was having to slice that by hand, it would not come out this pretty, and it would not be that fast. And who knows, I probably would end up cutting myself because I'd be pushing so hard on that. Now, to flavor these up, we're going to go ahead for this particular recipe. I melted 2 tablespoons of butter in our batter bowl. So this goes in the microwave, makes it really easy to get recipes like that started. I added a little bit of olive oil. I added some garlic and herb rub. Now you can add anything you want. The basic recipe that I got has you using Italian seasoning, but tonight's dinner is going to be a little bit more on the herby side, not so Italian. So that's why I went with garlic and herb. But you can do Italian. You could do Southwest if you're going to be doing it something with a meal that's a little bit more to the Southwest. That's what I love about this recipe, is that you can kind of mix up the flavor to complement whatever you're making. And then I also added some fresh garlic to this and some fresh Parmesan cheese. And then we just take our sweet potatoes and toss it in that mixture. And that's going to just get all over your potatoes. You're going to just make them all super yummy. And you can see that we're kind of going on more the savory, herby side, more so than, you know, tossing this with brown sugar and cinnamon. And, you know, not that there's anything wrong with that, but this just is a delicious recipe. And I find that, you know, I think it just kind of lends itself to using it more year round, because it's not necessarily all those fall flavors. It's just good, yummy flavors. Okay, once you get them all coated, you can use any kind of baker, but I particularly like these new enameled cast iron bakers that Pampered Chef has. Really pretty on the inside. It's an enameled, so it's almost kind of like non-stick, but it's not. I mean, you still might want to add a little bit of oil, but because there's butter on my potatoes, I'm not going to add any extra oil. Cast iron, as you know, bakes beautifully. You can actually cook on top of the stove with it, or you can put it in the oven. You can even put it under the broiler if you wanted to put, like we're going to put some Parmesan at the end. If you wanted to put that under the broiler and get that a little crispy on top, you could certainly do that as well. And we have a couple different sizes. The piece I'm using today is the 2-quart. If you're cooking for a smaller group, you could use the 1-quart for this particular recipe, or the 1-quart's really nice for dips and stuff if you're doing that over the holidays. Okay, so we're just going to pour this into our pan. And again, all that good sauce, the good butter, all that good flavor is going to definitely get in here. And then you can make it pretty by kind of spiralizing. This gets a little messy. I don't know if you guys want to try to get this where you can see it. Whereas I like to take the sweet potatoes and just kind of evenly layer them around the pan and just kind of give it a little spiral cut. Actually, for what I'm doing in this recipe, I probably could have gone with the smaller pan, but we already have the large one dirty, so that's what we're going to do. But this is going to be really, really pretty. This recipe also, I have tried it where you could rotate between a white potato and a sweet potato. And that way, you know, if you got people at the dinner table that like one or the other or whatever, they could kind of pick through them and get the potatoes that they want. So that's certainly a possibility with this recipe as well. And it would be equally delicious. So let me just get these arranged so you can kind of see what the idea that I'm going for with this little spiral that's going to go around. And it's really, really pretty. Okay. Almost there. If I was doing this with you guys not watching me, I'd probably take a little bit more care on this one, but just wanted you guys to kind of get the idea. So you can see how you can make that really pretty with doing a spiral. If you were doing regular potatoes with that and kind of going every other potato, white and sweet, that's really, really pretty, and it would be really, really tasty as well. So you have that ready to go, and then we're going to take just a little bit more Parmesan to sprinkle on top. Just gets kind of a garnish, but also too, I just like that extra cheese. Like to use this little zester that we have. As you probably noticed, you can use this in a couple different ways. So when I was grating a lot of Parmesan to put into the bowl that we mixed everything, I stood this up on the counter and kind of went in this direction. But now that I want to go ahead and sprinkle Parmesan on top here, I'm going to open it up, and then I can just grate right onto whatever I'm doing. And then it stores flat for storage, so it makes it really easy to do that. So there is our garlic Parmesan sweet potatoes. Doesn't that look yummy? It's going to go in the oven, bake for about 30 minutes, and it is going to be simply delicious. So I hope you enjoyed this demonstration. I know you're going to love that Rapid Prep Mandoline. If you get that in your kitchen, it's going to really come in handy, not only for the holidays, but I promise you'll be using it year round. So happy cooking!